My amp unit. Hopefully you guys are going to be able to see this video, man. This could just be me talking to myself for the next half an hour plus. Which wouldn't be the first time, right? But 5 minutes after Raw went off the air last night, we had a huge power outage. Severe storms finally took us out. At least I got Raw in, right? It was literally 5 minutes after Raw went off the air. You couldn't believe the timing. So in one hand, it was kind of like, okay, at least we got Raw in. On the other hand, it's like, fuck, man. Like, I needed that power for several more hours. So I said, you know what? Okay, we'll chalk it up as a loss. We'll just call it an early night. We'll wake up in the morning. Power will be restored. No harm, no foul. No, we woke up early this morning. Power was still out. I needed power on. I have a lot of business shit to do that's outside of this channel, I assure you. So I could not afford to have no power. So I went down to some of my secondary homes, if you will, down in New Jersey. People I know down there, I basically use them as secondary homes. And come to find out, New Jersey got hit 10 times harder than New York. No power at all. You would have thought I would have checked this out beforehand. No, I just show up like, surprise! Because I had to do a workout at the university anyway, so I was going there. I thought power was much better in Jersey. It wasn't. So I got nothing accomplished video-wise there or business-wise. Got word that back here in New York, power was back and restored, so I got back here. Power keeps on every like 15, 20 minutes, flickering on and off. So there's still issues. I have no idea if this video is going to get out to you guys. I hope it does. Hopefully before SmackDown, right? If this video gets to you guys before SmackDown, I consider this a win. Because I really did want to talk Raw reunion with you guys. I know you guys were thinking about or wanted to hear my views on this, man, because it was all over the place, this Raw reunion show, as we knew it would be. Before I get to the actual show itself, I want to talk about some backlash that WWE is facing this morning. Because come to find out, overnight, trending #1 worldwide was the hashtag Give WWE Women a Chance. And still, as we speak, the making of this video, trending #1 in the US is still Give WWE Women a Chance. How the fuck did we come to this point where once again we get a hashtag similar to the one a few years ago, Give Divas a Chance? And we've since then had the first ever Women's Hell in a Cell match, first ever Royal Rumble match, first ever Women's Pay-Per-View match. Pay-Per-View Evolution. First ever Women's WrestleMania main event. We've had all of these first evers. And here we are years later, and we've come full circle to nothingness. Give Divas a Chance has just now translated into Give WWE Women a Chance. Nothing has been accomplished in the past several years. With all the firsts, we still find ourselves wondering what Vince McMahon is doing with this women's division. Some people are blaming Long Island from last week. The 4 women that were in that match, Naomi, Natty, Alexa Bliss, and Carmella, given 20 minutes. And the crowd totally shit on it because it was not a good match. I think we know why it was a good match. There's no I think. We know why that was not a good match. Vince McMahon dropped the ball. It was cool that he gave them 20 minutes. Awesome. But who are you giving 20 minutes to? Are you just putting in some of your favorites, Vince? Or are you putting in actual wrestlers? If you're going to give somebody or somebodies 20 minutes, it better be people that can go 20 minutes. We know damn well there was participants in that match that could not go 20 minutes. Vince McMahon set them up for failure to begin with. Long Island paid their money to see good wrestling matches, or so they hoped. They saw a really bad match for 20 minutes. Of course they were gonna shit on it. Did Long Island take it too far? No question. Long Island took it to a point where they should not have. Because nobody deserved what Long Island gave them. No matter how bad the match is, at least they were in there for 20 minutes trying to make it better. Or at least most participants in that match. 1 or 2 might be questionable. But you know, Natty and Naomi were doing their best. Naomi put the match on her back. Natty is a consummate professional. Carmella has improved. Alexa has as well. But maybe not to the point of a 20-minute match. Again, you can blame Long Island all you want. They did take it too far, but they did have every right to shit on that match. Vince McMahon set them up for failure. There's no question. So that was the start of it. And then this week, the big thing that flipped everybody out with the women was that they didn't even get a match last night in the ring. The only women that stepped foot in that ring last night, again, not including the 24/7 shenanigans backstage, the only women to step foot in that ring before the toast at the end of the night was Lillian Garcia, and that's only because, you guessed it, she was a guest ring announcer. Everything else was backstage with the women. One segment was the build toward the Natty and Becky Lynch title match at SummerSlam, and that was a 4-minute segment, Moment of Bliss at the top of the stage. I actually liked that segment. I left it on Twitter. Hey, good segment, good continuation from last week's face-to-face. And I left also on Twitter, I said, but it just seemed rushed. And if it seemed rushed, that's because it was rushed. They only gave them about 4 minutes. They had some good back and forth, and then they immediately just started hammering at each other. Why not let that breathe? Let shit transpire. Let us all take in what we just witnessed. Fade to black. It all just happened so quickly just to get us to a Braun Strowman squash match. You couldn't have just let that breathe a little bit? That was the only women's segment of any significance last night, and the only segment for the women to actually make it into the arena last night. Everything else was backstage. Sure, you had Kelly become the first ever 24/7 title holder. Alundra Blaze then became title holder. You had Renee, Drake Maverick's wife, kind of helping him out. So you had some backstage shenanigans, no question. But in that ring, 0 matches, 0 minutes for the females. And then you wonder why Give WWE Women a Chance was trending. A lot of people were pissed off about that. But again, the other flip of the coin, the other side of the spectrum, a lot of people are blaming Long Island. But if you're thinking about this with a clear conscience, clear head, you know Long Island, yes, they took it too far, but they had every right to shit on that match. Vince set him up for failure. Now this week, Vince was scared to put any females in the ring because of what happened last week. But Vince has to look in the mirror and blame only Vince. He has to put actual wrestlers in 20-minute wrestling matches. Ember Moon should have been in that ring with Naomi and Natty. Io Shirai, Shayna Baszler from down in NXT could have been in that match. Do things right. NXT is just collecting all these wrestlers like Pac-Man down in NXT, and they're just collecting dust, a lot of them. A lot of these female talents down in NXT won't even be given a takeover match in Canada come SummerSlam weekend. Start calling them up if you're going to allow 20-minute female matches. We'd love to see them. We just want to see actual wrestlers. Asuka and Kairi. Instead of putting them in catering and having them wonder for 2 months when they're going to get their title opportunity for the tag straps, put them in that Fatal 4. Even Toni Storm, Bianca Belair. You could go on and on with talent that you have under your umbrella, whether main roster or NXT, and you chose to put Alexa and Carmella in a 20-minute match for a number 1 contenders championship match at SummerSlam. Who is to blame? It's Vince and his creative or uncreative cronies. That's the truth. That's why you got that hashtag. Now, there's a big part of the audience that says women just don't draw. They just never will. That's in the eye of the beholder. Maybe they're correct, but we'll never know if Vince doesn't give them an actual chance. We saw in those championship matches in NXT, man, when you get actual wrestling talent with the females, and that goes with the males as well, they're going to put on jaw-dropping performances. You tell me right now, if you don't see Sasha Banks and Bayley for the strap on the line, that's not going to be an awesome match? Bullshit. You tell me Ember Moon versus Asuka isn't going to be a dynamite match, I would call bullshit. You tell me Io Shirai versus Charlotte Flair wouldn't be a dynamite match, I call bullshit. Naomi versus Kairi, bullshit. There's awesome matches he could be having and giving 20-minute time limits to, and he refuses. He puts Alexa in there because she's got a pretty face. He puts Mandy Rose in there because she's got a pretty body. Charlotte Flair, because of her name, will get into everything. Tonight, she's probably going to be added in Ember Moon's moment. Ember Moon's match at SummerSlam against Bayley for the strap, that's all you need. Ember versus Bayley and we're good. Instead, Triple Triple Threat Flair will rear her head tonight, and she will be a part of this match at SummerSlam. I bet you it's going to be called tonight or next week. Charlotte will be added into this. I call her Triple Threat Flair. She wedged her way in between what could have been good between Ronda and Becky, and now she's going to wedge her way into Bayley and Ember. Now, sure, the match will still be good, but what does that say about Ember? What does that say about a match between Bayley and Ember? We're looking forward to seeing a champion take on a number one contender. Not number one contenders. Championships have to matter once again. They have to be meaningful. If they're gonna be meaningful and matter, then it has to be a champion versus a challenger. None of this triple threat, fatal four, or any type of schmaz match. Once Vince McMahon realizes and utilizes his talent correctly and what he has, who he has under his umbrella, and utilizes them in the right way, then and only then will we see the female division start to skyrocket to the moon, and they'll never have to come back. They got the talent to put on the matches. We're just not seeing it. So we don't know if the women just don't draw or not, because they've never been given the real chance. Outside of Ronda Rousey, Vince never really gave anything to anyone. For any substantial time, anyway. Trust me, I love seeing a pretty face. A sexy bod, man, with these females. It's great to see sexiness in there, but bro, times have changed and evolved to the point where we can see beautiful women that actually have talent. We can see Sasha and Ember and Naomi and Asuka and Kairi and Io, Shayna. We can see all these females putting on amazing matches, still be beautiful while doing it. It's awesome that he gave them 20 minutes last week, but it is not awesome who the participants were. Naomi had to put that whole match on her back. Natty helped out because she's a consummate professional, knows what the fuck she's doing. But when you have people that just can't go for 20 minutes, they're going to expose not just themselves, they're going to make their peers look bad. And that's what happened last week. And that's why Long Island shit on it. And that's why Vince got scared this week to put anyone in there. But he's got to blame himself. Come on, bro. And the biggest reason why give WWE women a chance is really trending, if you ask me, is because you had somebody who created the most buzz outside of Stone Cold this week. And that's Melina. Stone Cold easily was the front runner. He created the most buzz. And then you had Melina, who just created a shit ton of buzz this week. We were all excited to see Melina come back. We all wanted to hear the music pop off. We all wanted to see Melina strut down the aisle and do that fucking, the one of a kind. Even Naomi, man. Naomi's got her different separate type of split that she does. But there is no split in this business better than Melina's. She's got that bounce type shit, man. That shit's crazy. Melina, we were all gonna pop with her splits. She fucking mingles into the ring. And who knows, put her in something meaningful that could put over a younger talent or still show the world she still has it. Because she does. Melina is still wrestling on the independents, guys. She's not done. She wants to come back to WWE. She said that. She said she's waiting for the phone call. Put her in something meaningful. Let her strut down the ring to her music. Let's all give her a big pop on her splits. Fucking ooh, ah, sexy fucking moment, and then she shows she's still badass. She ain't just a pretty face, she's still an ass whooper. We saw nothing. She was backstage at one moment, had a referee shirt on for some reason, counting a Lunger Blaze over Kelly Kelly. What the fuck? That's what you gave Melina? And then you wonder why a big part of the audience was like, the fuck was that? Melina didn't even get into the ring until the final toast segment, which was extremely fucking just on the fly. We'll get to that later. Bro, you got Melina coming back. You know the buzz she created, or at least you should have. If WWE didn't realize the buzz Melina was creating, then that's another problem with this company. They really are in their own bubble, and they don't know what the world is talking about, or they just don't care, and that's tragic. Everybody was looking forward to Melina, man. And that's what the fuck they did? That's what the... And then you wonder, man. And then you wonder why... So now they're going to get backlash. As of the making of this video, guys, Vince, Triple H, Stephanie has not issued a statement. Last time when Give Divas a Chance started trending, and media outlets started taking notice, Stephanie and such had to go on their social media and say, we hear you loud and clear, change is coming, or something like that. They actually had to address it. So if that thing keeps trending, they're going to have no choice but to address it. Look for tonight on SmackDown. Look for the women to get some fucking match time, guys. Because they're facing Backlash. And when Vince faces this type of Backlash, and it has something to do with either race or the women, they totally do a 180. Yeah, I think he knows he stepped in some dog shit, and that dog shit is his own fucking reflection. Because when Vince looks in that mirror, he knows it's him. His ass is on the line to blame. You have all that talent, you know the recipe to make a successful match, and you refuse to do it. That's my opening monologue on this, guys. That is the #1 trend as of the making of this video. Give WWE women a chance. How did we go from Give Divas a Chance several years ago to the evolution in the revolution to now coming full circle back to the beginning? Nothing has changed. There has been no evolution, no revolution. The women are still just as insignificant as 3, 4, 5 years ago. Or some would say, ever. Unreal. And you have the fucking talent. That's what irks me. That's what infuriates me. You have the talent sitting in your lap, and you refuse to do anything with it. Should we get to the show? I suppose, right? This reunion show kicked off with John Cena, and I gotta be honest with you guys, it was really good to see John Cena. It really was. I know. I'm saying it's good to see John Cena, the guy who's pretty much held back any up-and-coming superstar for 10 plus years. But it was, man, you know, in a product that still, even since Cena has really been gone, still refuses to make a superstar. It was actually good to see Cena. I don't know why. I can't describe it. It was just, hey, man, that's, you know, hearing the music, seeing Cena and his all fucking Fruity Pebble self. It was actually a good, like, hey, man, it's good. I don't know. I can't justify it because I don't even know how to put it into words. It was weird. And I know a lot of you guys felt the same way, right? You can't put your finger on it. You don't know how to word it. You don't know why. But it just felt right to see Cena. It's weird. I don't know. Usos come out, and Usos and Cena spar off a little bit. Usos bring out Rikishi, and they're all about to do one of the old Too Cool dances. But out comes the Revival and Devon Dudley. Why the fuck is Devon Dudley with the Revival? What does that have to do with anything? So we have a match where the Usos end up beating the Revival, your tag strap holders, by the way. What's another loss? Championships mean nothing. Champions mean even less these days. The only thing good about this match was Booker T was on commentary. Let's be honest. So you have, and there was no even get the tables last night. I know you didn't have Bubba. He refused to show up. I don't blame him. But nothing happened. Devon was just with the Revival. Weirdly, the Usos defeat the Revival. And then the Usos and Rikishi celebrate. Not even dance. They just like, yeah, we won. An insignificant rematch. Just fucking odd to me, guys. The Viking Raiders then defeat Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins. Why not jobbers then? Why do you have to feed them actual talent? I mean, these days, people would just look at Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins as absolute just they're done. Let's be honest. Their careers in WWE are pretty much... I don't know if you can save Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins right now or going forward. I think they're done, like, for good. And that's sad to say. And that's what I mean. Each one of these matches for Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder is another nail in the coffin. Why? If you're just going to give them 2 minutes this match, then put jobbers in there like you gave Strowman last night. It did nothing to put in Zack Ryder and Hawkins last night. It did nothing. Nothing more than 2 nobodies in Tampa, Florida would have done. Viking Raiders win this match. Duh, obviously. Backstage, Maria is fucking going at Mike Kanellis again backstage. You had, Mike was talking to Eve Torres. Really good to see Eve last night. Eric Bischoff enters frame and tells Maria, why not join SmackDown if you're not happy? Yeah, your first thought is, yeah, get her off Raw, please. But then your second thought is, shit, she's still going to be on TV on SmackDown. Nobody gives a fuck about Mike and Maria Kanellis' storyline. Every time they sign a new contract, Maria gets pregnant and Mike Kanellis is fucking just as irrelevant as before the contract signing. It doesn't do anything. So Maria still just bashes Mike Kanellis and talks about how she's the breadwinner and Mike Kanellis is basically a nobody. We know this already. And Maria, you're no better than Mike Kanellis. This brings in Ron Simmons. He takes the bullhorn from, I believe, Jimmy Hart. Good to see Jimmy Hart. Takes the bullhorn and he just yells out, "Damn!" So it was good to hear the damn, but it was one of those nonsensical bullshit backstage segments I didn't want to see. We saw this at Raw 25, and anytime Vince McMahon gets all these legends or past superstars together, he just puts them in all these awkward bullshit backstage segments. You'll see 4, 5, 6, 10 superstars from the past, all in one little weird backstage segment. I hate it. And all this was just for Mike and Maria Kanellis' storyline to continue, about one person being pregnant and being upset at the person that impregnated her. Also backstage, you had Caitlyn, Santino Marella, Alicia Fox, I think, was in this. Is Alicia Fox supposed to be a backstage, a superstar legend from the past? And Drew McIntyre shows up, and McIntyre just looks at all of them and just says, "You're legends, please." Not in those words, but he's basically scoffing at him like, come on, this is what it's come to? Bringing you back for what? And he goes to walk off, and that was it. Santino Marella is sitting there with his little fucking cobra. Why not utilize them correctly, man? Utilize them just up front. Caitlyn, if you got Santino there, why not just have Drew McIntyre throw Santino Marella into a fucking wall or some shit, Santino takes a little bit of a bump. He'll take a little bit of a payday for that. And then he goes to fucking walk away, and Caitlyn says something. And Drew gets in Caitlyn's face like, "What did you say?" And Caitlyn says something to Drew. Drew doesn't like it, so Drew retaliates with some words of his own. Caitlyn smacks Drew in the face. And Drew just, tastes like the blood in the inside of his mouth or some shit, and looks at Caitlyn and says, "Watch what I'm about to do out there. Something you never were able to do in your career, and that's be relevant." And Drew walks off, and Caitlyn's pissed off. And Drew goes out and does what he did with Cedric Alexander. Drew McIntyre, before the bell even rang last night, annihilated Cedric Alexander. Did the Alabama Slam into the ring apron. Knocked out Cedric Alexander. I love that segment with Drew. And you could have had that backstage segment before that non-match with Caitlyn and Santino Marella be more meaningful. Not just for the Drew McIntyre storyline about being more vicious and having enough and not playing around anymore with people like Cedric, so it could have done wonders for Drew, but it also would have been awesome for not just the fans, but for the past superstars. Caitlyn, Santino, they would be involved in something cool, something meaningful. Instead, they have some words, and Drew makes fun of them, and then Drew just walks off. Come on, man. Get creative. 24/7 championship backstage. Drew McIntyre actually wins the title from R-Truth up front. This was a little help from his wife, Renee, so it was cool to see Renee actually helping out Drew in a roundabout way. Renee was pissed. Not Renee Young. Again, this is Drew McIntyre's wife, Renee. Renee was pissed at R-Truth for pretty much ruining everything. The wedding, the honey, everything. And from behind, Drake Maverick rolls up R-Truth and becomes champion. So I actually like that. And again, his wife actually helping him out a little bit. Definitely pretty cool. Then backstage, after a Boogeyman appearance, really good to see Boogeyman in his appearance last night, and it makes me yearn for characters again. You see people like the Boogeyman, you see people like the Godfather who got a good reaction last night, and it makes you yearn for characters. Everybody is just a carbon copy of one another. Everybody is just zero personality, zero charisma. Back in the day, we had characters, man. Even if they weren't larger than life, they were fun. Godfather, Boogeyman. And Boogeyman had an appearance last night, and this totally spooked Drake Maverick. He went to run away, but Pat Patterson somehow ends up pinning Drake Maverick to become the 24/7 champion. So it was really good to see Pat Patterson, the old-timer, to the 10th degree, pick up the championship. And then you had, backstage, Briscoe ended up pinning Pat Patterson. So it was fun to see the Stooges kind of turn on each other. And then you had Briscoe actually become the new champion. Then Kelly becomes the first ever women's 24/7 champion under this new title, and she beated Gerald Briscoe. And then Alundra Blaze defeats Kelly. And again, in a weird way, Melina was the referee for that Alundra Blaze victory. Alundra Blaze then says, anybody wants to face me for this, step up, because I'm not going to be champion long. And I knew what that meant. She was going to come out and drop that title into the trash. And that's what she tried to do. She came out, she tried to put the title in the trash, like she did on WCW with the former WWE Women's Championship back in the day. But $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase ended up coming out, and he paid for the 24/7 championship. So I really like that, man. Really showed Ted DiBiase what he used to be back in the day, because he would buy everything. Everybody had a price. And last night, Alundra Blaze had a price. So that was really cool to see. Later in the night, when $1 Million Man was in his limousine, Drake Maverick actually got in there. You heard some scuffling going on. Drake Maverick comes out with the title. He won the title in the limo over Ted DiBiase. But it was only for a moment, because then R-Truth rolls up Drake Maverick, and Truth ends up jumping in the limo. Or did that happen in the limo? No, I think it was outside the limo, but Truth escaped in the limo with Drake Maverick's wife. So Truth kind of left Carmella behind, and Drake was left behind with his wife Renee still in the limo. Hopefully that makes sense. So R-Truth and Drake Maverick's wife run off together in the limo, or ride off. And the best part about this was Drake Maverick just yelling out, "My title, my title!" And then it takes him a full minute to realize, wait a second, my wife, my wife! So he's really playing up his obsession with the title more than his wife. Wouldn't it be funny if his wife actually pins R-Truth? We come to find out there's footage of Renee, Drake Maverick's wife, pinning R-Truth in the limo. That would be really funny. But hopefully I covered all of the 24/7 shenanigans, guys. I loved it. I really did. I wish a lot of it was presented a lot better, but I'm glad they made that a focal point last night, because it should be. That's exactly how you should have utilized a lot of those past talents and have some fun with them. For the women, I just wish they had more in-ring shit. What else? Man, guys, hopefully you're following along. That's a lot to go over, I know. And if it seems like I'm going fast, I have to, because I don't even know if this video is going to get to you guys. So I don't want to be doing this for 2 hours and realize it ain't even going to be able to be uploaded. So that's why I'm really having to go through this kind of fast. There's so much to go over, guys. I think I got all of the 24/7 title stuff in. There was a Roman Reigns Samoa Joe match last night. Guys, Joe looks so good on the mic. His presence, everything, man. It was like every time they give Samoa Joe a little bit of momentum and steam, they take it right back with another loss. The only person to lose more than Samoa Joe at this point, or entity, is my New York Knicks. Nobody loses more than the Knicks than Samoa Joe, and that is a shame. This guy can be a superstar. He's treated like a schmuck to the utmost degree. He talks a great game. He can carry a storyline. He's got a presence. He's good in the ring. Why is he losing every match that means something? He takes on Roman Reigns last night, a rematch from fucking Backlash last year and 10 other times. And Joe just takes an L to Roman. All of this was just to feed Samoa Joe to Roman Reigns. For what? Was that necessary? Did that need to happen? Man, it's a travesty what happened. Joe's done. I don't see any way they can fix Samoa Joe, man. I really don't. It's like Drew McIntyre. Unless they do something really huge with Drew McIntyre, like shit that happened with him and Cedric Alexander last night, and that Alabama slam and not even letting the match start. Drew McIntyre was more concerned with just making Alexander pay. I like that. But you're going to have to keep doing that with Drew to even make us think that there's any way possible for Drew to become a superstar on the main roster again, because they ruined Drew McIntyre. Every time he talks a good game and carries a storyline and looks like a badass presence, he gets in there with Roman twice already, 3 times actually if you count their tag match, and he loses. WrestleMania, Super Showdown. The last one was at Extreme Rules or the event before one of them. He had another match with Roman, lost that one. Same thing with Samoa Joe. These are talents that should not be losing every significant match. I'll stop it, man. I'll get over this one. But that was the Roman Reigns Samoa Joe match. Unfucking real to me. Rey Mysterio defeated Sami Zayn. This was kind of set up backstage earlier in the night because Sami Zayn, just like Drew McIntyre, was kind of laughing at the fact that WWE brings in all these past superstars. And how basically they're just not relevant anymore. And Sami Zayn is where it's at now. And that's where the spotlight should be. And Rey Mysterio comes up into Sami Zayn's face and says, they deserve respect. Show it to them. Kurt Angle gets involved and says, hey, guys, back when I was general manager, we would solve this in the ring. So then we have an impromptu Rey Mysterio, Sami Zayn match. During this match, RVD, Kurt Angle, who else? There was somebody else, right? Sergeant Slaughter. Was that it? I think that was it, right? Sergeant Slaughter. Oh, Hurricane too. Hurricane Helms. So Sergeant Slaughter, Hurricane Helms, Kurt Angle. They all came down to the ring with RVD. And they didn't do anything. They just kind of came down to the ring. Caused a distraction, I guess. A little bit. And Rey Mysterio defeats Sami Zayn. All in 5 minutes. And all these past superstars come to the ring and don't even lay a hand on anybody. Come on! Hurricane couldn't throw a bow. Sergeant Slaughter couldn't have put the clutch on. You couldn't have watched RVD do a splash. I mean, he was in full attire. I know he's doing some work with TNA Impact. But they okayed him to come to the ring. He couldn't do a frog splash. He's in his attire. He's got his knee pads. He's ready to go. Kurt Angle, an angle slam? Was it too much to ask to give us something? I'm surprised they even allowed them to come down the ramp a little bit. Lord forbid they get creative, man. Fuck, I'm sorry, guys. I screwed up earlier, too. It was Candice Michelle that defeated Kelly Kelly, I believe. Really cool to see Candice Michelle, and she was looking bomb last night, can I just say. And I think it was Alundra Blaze that defeated Candice Michelle. So I did want to make a correction. Candice Michelle defeated Kelly Kelly. So much to keep track of, I know. Seth Rollins defeated AJ Styles via disqualification in this motherfucker. We're hearing word that was supposed to be Ricochet, but Ricochet has an elbow issue that he's dealing with. So they had to put Seth Rollins in that spot last night. That would have been a huge position for Ricochet because he would have been rubbing shoulders with Shawn Michaels and Triple H because they kind of reformed their little DX last night because obviously AJ Styles had the OC, the original club with Gallows and Anderson. So now they're going to be the OC. And here comes DX to help out Rollins, which was supposed to be Ricochet. Hopefully you guys are keeping track at home. And then a brawl ensued afterwards with the OC and DX and Rollins and Styles. And is that when I think that's when everybody came down, right? Road Dogg, X-Pac, NWO, meaning Hall and Nash. They all ended up coming down, and there was like a melee in the ring, and then everybody celebrated. I think that was right after AJ Styles and Seth Rollins. So, I mean, that was cool. Don't get me wrong, man. At least they went in and got in the ring and got physical, you know, and Nash was in there and Hall, and that's good to see, man, you know. That's what I mean. Like, get creative. It would have been great to hear the NWO theme, and I would have went about things differently, man. You know? You didn't necessarily have to put NWO in there with DX every time they do that shit. Let them be in something separate and let them put over the younger talent. They ain't got to be taking crazy bumps or power bombs. But if you got creative, you could put Hall and Nash in a segment that's going to really up young talent. Hall and Nash could be utilized huge to put up like the Revival. Or a tag team that you really want, you could have the NWO cement them. They just rub shoulders with DX just for a fucking photo op after the match with Styles and Rollins. That's what I mean. Get creative. It's the same shit every time they put together these reunion shows. Stick with me, guys. I gotta fucking I'm all over the place. This whole fucking night was all over the place. Braun Strowman, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, he had a squash match over a guy called Randy Rowe, I believe is his name. And that was like your main event to get to the toast. It was Braun Strowman squash. And I kind of mentioned it earlier. Natalya, Becky Lynch on a moment of bliss. They gave this like 4 minutes. I love the back and forth between Becky and Natty. And they should have done it a little bit longer, but they just didn't want the women out there for too long. I think Vince was scared shitless that they were going to get shit on. And so they just had them say a few words, and then they just started brawling each other. And I loved it. I wished it lasted a bit longer. I wish they went back and forth on the mic a little bit more. I'm liking the reality that Becky and Natty are bringing in this together. And there's a sense of realism and believability, and a sense of urgency, and a sense of like, you're getting on my nerves. We're not friends. Not for SummerSlam. We're bitter fucking enemies. You know? And there's a sense of just this hostility between once former friends. And I love how Becky put it. Becky said, yeah, we were friends, Natty, until you turned your back on me and helped Ronda Rousey and helped train her to take what meant a lot to me, what meant the world to me. You did that. I love it. So, you know, it's just a shame that that's all they were given. Like 4 minutes. Come on, man. Forgive me if I'm forgetting some shit, guys. I mean, there's so much fucking shit. I mean, that was the gist of Raw. It was just all over the place. We all can agree on that, man. There was just... They tried to fit so much in, and they didn't know how to utilize everyone because it was just a chaotic circus. Mick Foley and Bray Wyatt. I love this too. So there was shit that I liked last night. I just wish they let shit breathe, and I wish there was more good shit than just crazy circus bullshit. Bray Wyatt and Mick Foley was beautiful. Mick Foley's in the ring, and the lights go out, and you know it could be Bray Wyatt. When the lights go back up and the crazy screams subside, there's Bray Wyatt, man. And he just sets up, I think it was Sister Abigail too, right? Lights go back out. Mick Foley's down and out. You got the crazy laughs and screams. And Bray Wyatt just took out Mick Foley. How awesome was that? There's nobody better in that role than Mick Foley. Mick Foley, and you remember that Mankind character. And just to see Mick Foley, even though it wasn't Mankind, it was Mick Foley, he got flatlined by the new sadistic entity that is Bray Wyatt. It was like the passing of the torch. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. And just like Natty and Becky, something I loved was just so short. And I know that was a lights go on and off, Sister Abigail, get the job done, and Bray leaves. You know, you don't want to keep him out there too long and lose the mystique. I understand that. It's just a shame that some of the really good shit last night was done in a heartbeat. You know, that sucks. But that was another really good last night. Bray Wyatt just taking out Mick Foley. I just thought that was the perfect person to do the job to Bray Wyatt, Mick Foley. And the end of the night, we can all agree, Stone Cold Steve Austin was the man for the job, man. And giving the big toast. They just let him go out there with an open mic. No real bullet points. He just went out, started talking about partying with John Cena or doing Hulk Hogan, I'm sorry. Hulk Hogan, never hung out with Hulk Hogan a day in his life. They just had some beers and filmed the podcast. The night before, he's talking about drinking beers with Ric Flair, and Flair telling him a shitload of stories till 4 a.m. Stone Cold was just going all over the place. He kept on asking, how much time do I have, or if I have time left. It was just, you could tell he was just shooting the shit, and I love that. And I mentioned on Twitter last night, everybody always says, BC, I can listen to you talk pro wrestling for hours. And I said, I can understand that because I can listen to Stone Cold for hours too. And it was really good to see him, but I just wish they had more planned for the final segment of the night. That was in the main event spot. You had all this talent there, and everyone just got in the ring and did a toast. Cool. Pay your respects. You guys know I love paying my respects to all the past talent. I love it. But you had nothing more, no Stone Cold stunners at all last night. Nothing big, leaving a cliffhanger last night. Like, whoa, it was a party. We were showing our respect. That happened? Nothing. Like the Ric Flair celebration, that was cool. It was supposed to be a big party for Ric Flair. And all of a sudden, Batista drags out Ric Flair. Remember that? I got your attention now, Hunter? Do I? I love that, man. And you went off the airwaves like, whoa, that celebration just got ruined in a huge cliffhanger way. I was hoping for something like that. We just got a fucking... Everybody smashing their beers and good night. I don't know what that did for next week. There's no reason to tune in next week. There was no cliffhanger. SummerSlam, that did nothing for SummerSlam. You know what I mean, guys? You had your moments. Natty and Becky, love it. Bray Wyatt taking out Mick Foley, love it. All the 24/7 shenanigans backstage, love it. Stone Cold in the ring without a script, love it. So there was shit I absolutely loved last night. It's just when you're putting together 3 hours and you have all of those past talents and today's young talent on your roster, you have all of that, and about 10%, 15% of the show I actually enjoyed. It's not good, man. That's not good. That shows you that they don't know what they're doing. They had a full week to plan out the actual show, and they had a full month beforehand to know what was coming with this reunion. This was planned out a month in advance, and they knew their set lineup a full week in advance. And that's the best you have for all of this talent with your 617 writers. That's why I have a problem with it, guys. It's not over-critiquing it. It's not being overly negative. I'm not hammering hard on them for no reason. I have thousands of people that watch these videos for a reason. They want my honest, straight down the middle, all factual, not just opinion, factual take on it. And I'm dissecting every segment so you guys see the truth in it. It's not just my opinion. Anybody can get in front of a camera and give their opinion. I'm literally dissecting these segments and showing you guys the good and bad and the ugly in each one. And if we're being truthful, guys, the show was not that good. It just wasn't. It had its moments, and that's great. At least it had moments. We could be talking about Raw 25, which didn't even have a fucking moment, basically. At least this one had moments. Still tragic when you look at the talent, past and present, that was used in the way they were, or most not used at all, if you think about it. Amplified, man, hopefully this video gets out to you guys. I'm sorry if it seemed rushed. There was so much to go over, and I don't even know if this is even going to get to you guys today. So I had to just fucking come at you full throttle, fully amplified. Hopefully we get some power full throttle, and this will get out to you guys. We'll go on to SmackDown tonight. We'll see what they fucking do. If Charlotte Flair gets into this Ember Moon Bayley match, I am going to flip the fuck out and go through every cement wall here in New York City. I'm telling you right now. You might not want to tune into tomorrow's SmackDown review if that's the case, because I'm going fucking full throttle ballistic. Amplified, man. Amplified, man. We got to go find some power somewhere in this city. For now, we'll check you later.